cannot convert without conversation. But you can't wait for those conversations to come knocking on your door. So what do? You go and seek it. Go and engage with others. Go and comment on others. Go and watch their stories. Be in front of them. Be proactive.
Ed Stulak is the team leader of Orbis Group and a social media shark to over 88,000 followers worldwide and growing. Through developing his online popularity, he has shared the stage with names like Ryan Serhant, James Harris, Tamir Poleg, and several other business leaders. Named top digital industry hustler to watch by Realtor magazine, today, Ed leads his team to transacting over 187 homes a year and helps others in the industry build a brand and business online that matters. Welcome back to another episode of Simplifying Social Media. I'm your host, Tamany, owner of The Simple Touches, and today we're chatting with Ed Stulak. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to chat with you. I have a feeling it's going to be really like a funny interview today, just based off your socials.
I like it.
You make me laugh. So here we go. So we're going to dive in. Before we talk about all things social media, just give us some context, team size, production, and then we'll go for it.
So my team is, we're called Orbis Group. We have about 4 or 5 agents right now, somewhere around there. I'm descaling, going backwards real quick for a second. And last year we had about 71 transactions, units sold, and just around between 15 to 20 million, somewhere between there.
Beautiful. And where are you located?
New Jersey. So we're over in New Jersey, about 45 minutes from New York City, so not too far from, the New Yorkers.
I love it. I need to check out the East Coast. I have not been yet. And I'm named after, like Tammany Hall in New York, I'm named after it. So I need to go.
Gotta go.
All right. So I'm excited to chat with you because you have a significant presence on both Instagram and TikTok. And usually we're just talking about one or the other. So let's talk about, do you have a preference, Instagram or TikTok, and why?
Yeah. I've been on Instagram now since 2012. So I have a soft spot for Instagram. It's provided me a lot of opportunities, from the list goes on, from business to personal to relationships to you name it. It's opened up avenues that I never knew existed. So I love Instagram for those reasons. It's just easier to navigate for me too. And I feel like it's the virtual business card, the digital business card of today's era that we're all on. We just don't personify it enough. And I feel like I've kind of figured out a way to make it pretty and funny, as you said, but attractive to get someone to open up and say, you know what, Ed, I want to work with you and here's how. So I like Instagram for that reason. TikTok, I got on there in 2019 because I saw that it's the new billboard that's pretty much free advertising for millions potentially with very easy videos to make. And so I'm thinking this is work smarter, not harder. So I figured let me hop on TikTok for that reason. By the 4th video I posted, I had 72,000 views on it. So I'm thinking I'm definitely sticking to this thing for a little bit until I can't anymore. So I like TikTok for that reason because it's easier to grow a following. Today it's a little bit more oversaturated, but I feel like I just babbled. I like Instagram.
I love it. I'm kind of the same way. Like Instagram is my ride or die, but TikTok is like, I'm not going to not post on TikTok because there is opportunity still there, I feel.
There definitely are.
As I'm hearing you talk, what do you think the main difference is between an agent who has, all these opportunities flooding in from Instagram versus an agent who's just like really struggling with it and just like isn't sure if they're wanting to pursue it anymore because they're just having a hard time?
Yeah, Instagram does that. Instagram really discourages people from wanting to pursue it any further because it's just like anything. If you join early enough, you can get good opportunities. But if you join it, whenever you join it, and even super late in the game, you could have talent. And talent will supersede anyone that's early to the company or whatever it is, right? So the way I look at Instagram is the early founders or maybe the early goers there, like myself, Yeah, we probably saw the beginnings, and we were on Instagram in the beginning to kind of support it. And so, of course, Instagram in return is like, all right, we're going to push you a little bit more. You know, you've been here since the beginning, kind of thing. But then you get people that hop on, post a video 5 months into having an Instagram account for the first time ever because their, partner or their friend said, "Oh, you should be on there. Like, you totally have a
Yeah.
chance for it," and they blow up. And it's like, what? What am I doing wrong? Like, how are they doing it so short time and they do it so well? So there's so many variables to succeeding on there. But the one that I've noticed more consistently is number one, consistent, of course, being on there every single day, showing up, posting, whether it's a story or if it's a reel. And there are some bigger Instagram uh, personnels that I'm connected with today, and I hear them and I hear what they talk about. I hear their strategies and their new things that they're going to be doing in 2025 to continue pushing and growing. And two of them said the same thing so far. Two of them said posting one reel a day is no longer going to be the thing to succeed. You're going to have to post
Mm.
at least three. So not like one is good, fine. It's not going to be enough to really be on top, the shining star on social media. So now we're in a world where we're being pushed and pressured and influenced to be on social media platforms to be posting. Now we got to do it a lot more. So not is it only already a big pill to swallow of getting on there in the first place, whipping out the phone and filming something. Oh, right. Like, I don't know what to say or look like. Now I got to do it 3 times a day. Oh, man. So, yeah, it's getting to that point where it could be a little bit overwhelming. However, that's not a that's not a statement of discouragement. I'm not trying to tell the viewer or the listener right now, hey, you got to post 3 times. It's not necessarily that. There are ways where you can still flourish and grow more than someone else, and you don't have to post 3 times a day. What do you do? So, what do you do? This is a strategy that I've been doing for so long, and I still stick to it. And it's something that gets me more exposure. Right after all, I wrote a book called Expose Yourself. So,
Yep.
like, I talk about things like this, where you get more exposure, you get more conversations going, and more conversations means more conversions. You
Yep.
cannot convert without conversation. But you can't wait for those conversations to come knocking on your door and saying, "Hey, I want to talk to you. Tamany, hey, I've been following you for 3 years, 4 months, like I want to talk to you." Can't expect that all the time. So what do you do to go and get that in return, get that conversation going? You go and seek it. How do you go and seek it? Go and engage with others, go and comment on others, go and watch their stories, go and send them a DM, go and follow them, go and, I don't know, support them somehow. They have a business, go and support it, be in front of them.
Yes.
So, like, be proactive. So you could still win on social media by doing that, being proactive, reaching out, doing stuff, as opposed to waiting for it to come. If you want to wait for it to come in, the inbound, post 3 times a day, post a lot of reels, create engaging stuff, create funny stuff, create entertaining stuff, create emotional stuff. If you do all those things, you'll get the inbound traffic,
Right.
as opposed to, oh, I don't want to do that, or I don't know how to do that. That's fine. Go and get it.
Yes. My favorite thing that you just said was you cannot convert without conversations. And one thing that I've been really reflecting on with Instagram specifically, as opposed to something like YouTube, is there's so many opportunities Instagram is like building in, especially with all the new updates right now in 2025, to like have these really like teeny tiny opportunities to connect with people, whether it's like, oh, like join my broadcast channel or click on my link sticker. They're like these teeny opportunities that you wouldn't think would be like touch points, but you don't have those opportunities on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube is just subscribe,
Mm-hmm.
comment,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that Instagram is really doing well at, because they are really trying to build communities within their platform.
Totally.
And there's just so many tools, and there's a benefit to knowing all of the tools within
Sure.
it.
Sure. Right. Not everyone knows them all.
Right.
For example, I don't know the whole like subscription side of things for Instagram. Could I create a subscription? Could I have people subscribe? Yeah, but I'm not an OnlyFans character, okay? I'm not looking for people to sign up and, hey, come my way, and I'm going to give you exclusive access to my
Right.
knowledge that I'm giving away anyway.
Right.
So, like, why subscribe for what? There's nothing exclusive in that sense. Unless you truly have something exclusive, then yeah, go for it, create that. But I don't know anything about that. So that's a feature that I have not tapped into on Instagram. That's okay. It's not slowing me down from still earning business or exposure in different avenues. The Instagram stories, there's polls, there's questions, there's this, there's that. Are you utilizing all of them? For example, if you go on the Instagram story, on the left side of your phone, there's a little button that says create. And if you click create, you can then scroll over to different things like questions, or when you're filming yourself and like it hits you with questions and you're supposed to like answer it in the moment, or like little gifs that pop up. And there's different things that people don't really do. And I did
Yep.
it the other day and I had 15 people reach out to me. How'd you do that?
Yep.
Simple little things. So Instagram has a lot of them. If you utilize them, awesome. And what I also say, not to segment too far off of this subject because it's still somewhat relevant, but a platform like Instagram, it's technically free. Unless you're
Mhm.
paying $15 a month for a blue check mark, unless you're paying Instagram ads or Facebook ads, it's free. You're not swiping a card every month to use Instagram. Therefore, Instagram is giving this to you for free. They are putting money and team members and employees and a background and a company and so much more behind it to make sure that Instagram, which is a free platform for you and I, is being ran correctly. So they're putting a lot of money into that.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? If Mr. Mark Zuckerberg goes out and hires a new team to go ahead and create a new feature on Instagram, that's money that he's putting into it, hoping that people use it. And if people
Mm.
use it, he kind of like takes his little check mark, like, okay, these people are using it, so we're going to go ahead and give them more features, or we're going to give them first access to features because they're using them, or we're going to give them a little bit more exposure because we noticed that this person, Mike, out in Calgary, Canada, has really been using a lot of it, so we're going to give him a little bit more love today. Like, I'm not saying this is exactly how it works, but it kind of logically makes sense for it to work this way. You know, you come into my pizza shop. I see you coming in every Friday with the same people, same family, and you're bringing me so much business. Trust me, Tammy. One day I'm going to say, listen, next one on me.
Yep.
Like, you've been coming in here so much. You left here like $4,000 this past 2 months. Like, I'm going to give you a pie for free. It's $25. Like, I'm not going to do that. So this is how I feel like social media accounts are as well and platforms. If you use it enough, if you utilize all the features, you're going to get something in return for it.
I absolutely agree with that. I think my account is a great testament to that. And I always think about kind of the way they roll out updates is kind of like a wave, right? Or like a bell curve, I suppose, if I want to go back to my math background. So they roll it out and they push, 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 push. They finally get enough people using it and then it kind of levels out. So if you can catch it on that upswing, you kind of get that benefit of that push, 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 push. And I did that in 2 years ago. And that's when I jumped. I jumped in 2 months from 5,000 to 50,000 followers in 2 months because I jumped on one of the new features and was good at it, right? And I stuck with it and I was consistent. And so if you can, I mean, there's a little bit of luck involved, but there's strategy too. And so if you can really stay on top of the updates, the rollouts, and just really try, like throw stuff at the wall until it hits, like you're absolutely right. Like they're going to reward you.
Oh, it just makes sense. It really
Yeah.
does. That's awesome. That's a good story for sure. Going from 5 to 50 is not easy.
It was crazy. And I was like, okay, now I'm playing catch up because my business imploded. And I was like, okay, I need to restructure everything. But it was a good problem to have. Like, who doesn't want that problem,
Right.
right? So, okay, so you mentioned that you've had a lot of really cool opportunities from social media. Can you share one or two of like the
Yeah,
coolest?
yeah, totally. So about 4-ish years ago, early 2021, I received a DM, and it was this agent. She's based out in New York, and she says, "Hey Ed, can you help me out with an opportunity? It's in a town called Somerville, New Jersey." And as a New Jersey guy, I'm like, sure, of course, I know it. As I'm Googling, where is Somerville, right? Like, I'm Googling.
Totally.
And I'm like, I can do that, no problem. It's 30 minutes away. I'm like, sure, I can help out. What is it? She's like, it's too much to explain over the DM. Let's get on the phone call. Let's talk. So we talk a little bit, and I'm a little confused with what she's trying to get at. So I'm like, listen, better yet, can you meet me there? And like let's talk about it in person. So she gives me the address. We meet there a few days later. I roll up to this building, and I'm thinking, this is a weird spot to meet at, but I guess this is where the owners are. Fine. So we roll up, I park, and all of a sudden these three developers come out, and you know they're developers. Like, you just know. They have money, okay? I'll put it that way.
Three.
Oh, yeah, three of them all together. And I'm 26 at the time, so I'm thinking, wow, this is very intimidating. I'm not prepared to like be hammered away, but like whatever, I'm here. Let's do it. So I sit down with them, and they start hammering away these questions, right? How long have I been in the business? What kind of marketing strategy do I have, right? Like, and they're asking me all these questions about this building. And I'm thinking, I wasn't prepared for this building. I thought this was like a single family home that I usually do. This is well, I'm not prepared for something like this, but screw it, whatever. And so we're chatting away, and they're hitting me with all these questions. And long story short, um, I got that opportunity to represent a 180 unit rental apartment complex. And that was because of an Instagram message that I got.
Wow.
Did I expect that? No. Was I happy about it? Hell yeah. That was, but trust you me, like I had no idea what I was stepping into.
Yeah.
And till today, we still have that. I actually have an award over there for selling 184 units in 1 year, which
Wow.
that up my yeah that was a big year. I was very happy about that one. But we still have that project till today. We're still converting units left and right, about 6 to 10 a month. So it's cool to say that right there, one DM has changed my trajectory of my business. So that's one story of probably more, but that's the biggest one.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
I love that. I kind of envision, and maybe you have a different like envision, like a picture of it, but like I envision social media as just like this like cloud above your funnel, and it's just like dropping into your funnel.
right,
That's my
right.
picture of it.
Well, you just never know who's going to reach out to you. You never know who's watching. You don't know who's being influenced by your stuff. You don't know who's inspired or who's going to say, "Oh my God, I love her hair," or "I love her energy. Her vibe is awesome." What she said in that last reel was so touching. I want to reach out and just say something. You just never know. You know, I did it to some guy not too long ago on TikTok. I was just scrolling, as we all do, and I hear him singing on the streets of Pennsylvania. I don't know where. And he sounded like a young Sinatra, handsome looking dude in a suit and tie. And I'm like, wow, this guy is so good. And like, I just went down a spiral of listening to all his stuff. And he's here, he's there, he's singing, and he's so charismatic. And I'm like, dude, I got to reach out to this guy and just say something. And I
Yeah.
did. It was like, hey, bro, dude, whatever you're doing is so nice. Just letting you know from a consumer, like it's very cool to see that you're doing what you're doing. Nice talent, and it made his day. You know, he's like, dang,
Yeah.
him. I don't know him. He doesn't know me. But like, why not? That made his day. I could have helped him do something else. I don't know. So you just don't know who's watching.
I think we can all kind of relate to that, like finding an account and kind of going down a rabbit hole of the account just because you're attracted to something about that person or that content. And kind of piggybacking off of that, if you are creating content completely scripted by AI, you're so scared to show your personality. You're sitting in front of the camera like a robot, and you're just like, 5 steps to buying a house. Step 1, right? Like, nobody's going to want to dive into your content. So, what advice would you give someone who's just like really scared of being in front of the camera or like being vulnerable like that? Like, I'm sure you write about that in your book. What some of the things or pointers you would give a real estate agent who's just kind of like, oh my goodness, like how do I get started with this?
It's overwhelming. It
Yeah.
really is. You know, like this fancy camera and all this stuff. Like I didn't always have this.
Right.
You know, This took me time. This started off with a flip phone to an NV. I don't know what was the EV or whatever it was called. The flip phone. Like that's where we all started. Is it not?
Yes.
Oh, and I think it was like a chocolate phone where you flipped it and it turned around and then you closed it and it was like a camera. The coolest thing ever. I
With like T9 texting.
yeah, seriously. Like that's where we started. And in today's world, luckily, people start off with iPhones usually or an Android, and these are all good camera qualities.
Amazing camera qualities.
And camera qualities at that, correct? So just start with what you got. Number one, don't overthink it. You do not need a fancy $4,000 camera or a $900 microphone. You don't need it. Eventually, you'll graduate to it.
Yeah.
You don't. Well, I don't want to speak for everyone, but you don't start off your, driving when you're 17 years old, 18 years old in a Porsche, maybe, probably. I don't know about people out there, but you may want to start off with like a beater, just like, hey, if you bump the car or something, like it's okay.
Yeah.
At least I don't know about you or anyone else, but it's okay. Point being, start with what you got. That's fine. Next. Maybe go into like a quiet room. Go where people aren't watching. Go where there isn't noise. Set up the camera, set up some cool lights if you have. Again, these lights in the background behind me, I'm like, I need more behind me. And eventually I saw someone else do it. I'm like, I need that too. And dogs. And that's essentially where I started to feel like, okay, I gotta do something better than what I've been doing. So I graduate myself slowly but surely. But I go into a quiet room. I set up my camera. I try to make it right. I try to make sure that all my nose, my hairs, and all this stuff is okay. And then I feel good. And when I feel good, I sound good. I'm like, okay, all right, let's just try. And that might not be the video that you post or end up using. I filmed something the other day. I woke up at 4 a.m. and just filmed. And I'm like, I just want to film right now. And I used it and I edited. This was before CapCut left us for a few days. But I was editing on CapCut and I was on there for like 5 hours. I missed a call. It was so bad. I was so in the zone. And I'm like, this is so awesome. But like I was filming and editing. And then I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to use this. And then I'm like, you know what? This was really good practice though. Like I just learned how to CapCut on the computer, which I usually do it on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Point being to my story, it's relevant because any second that I put into content creation of some sort, whether it's on my camera, my pretty camera, or on my phone, I have DJI microphones now that I just used for the first time the other day. Like, I don't know what these things are. I bought them and now I'm using them. So, it's like, okay, cool. I'm stepping my thing up.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I put into it, I'm bettering myself.
Yeah.
So now I know how to speak. I know how to be more authentic. When I slip up or like a dog starts barking, I'm gonna own that. Like that is authentic. Let's go. Let's work with it. And I'm gonna work with it on a listing video. I'm gonna work with it on a reel that I talk about 3 reasons why you should move to Somerville, New Jersey. Here's 3 tips that you should do to make sure that you're blowing up on TikTok in 2025. And like whatever happens, happens. But like work with it, own it, and that personality right there. I feel like people can relate to because when the viewer is watching that, they're going to say, wow, I also mess up. I also do this. I also do that. I'm also not perfect. This is good to know that there's someone else out there that is also fumbling like I am. So when I see perfection constantly, it's like, what are you doing? You either have a lot of money, you either have a really good production team, you either have something that I don't, and I'm not going to overthink it. So I guess for, not to all over the place here. But for the listener, I guess how to just really get out there and be yourself is have a few trial runs with yourself in a quiet room or a quiet place where it's maybe just yourself, where you don't have someone else looking at you or listening to everything you're going to say. You're nervous and now you're freaking out with, oh, it's going to sound stupid. You're going to mess up. It's okay. Mess up. I own it. Every time I mess up, I'm like, fuck. Let's do it again. But have fun with it. So just own your imperfections because now those imperfections are going to be perfect. Didn't John Lennon say that, or John?
Someone did. I think that's such good advice though, because I think those like mess ups make the videos better, and I think you're like doing yourself a disservice if you cut those out. I mean, obviously, if it's like if you're cussing or like whatever, take that out. But if it's like if it's a cute little like whatever you do when you are embarrassed. Like people like to see that stuff because, like you said, it's relatable. And something I was thinking about, that's why I was looking down when you were talking, but I was looking this up as you were talking. A lot of your mess ups, or a lot of what you consider like quote unquote bad when you're filming, can be fixed when you're editing the video.
Sure.
And when I know everyone uses CapCut, I personally use InShot,
Okay.
INSHOT. And there's, for anyone who's like, I don't know how to edit, there's a feature on InShot called AI Cut. And you literally just upload your video in there and you do the AI cut. It takes out all of the the blank spaces, all that stuff. And it's such a good way to start your editing. And then from there, you can add all the fun stuff. And I get better at editing every time I edit, just like you said, right? Every time is practice.
Mm-hmm.
But CapCut also is a great option now that we have it back. we're filming this right after the quote unquote great TikTok ban of 2025.
It's the Great Depression.
Oh my god. I don't know, should we talk about it or not? Because it's like such a political thing, but
But,
ugh.
yeah, but now also Edits is coming out.
Edits is coming out. I'm actually kind of excited about it. How are you feeling about it?
Very excited about it.
Yeah.
Don't do anything half-ass. So when
Yeah.
I saw them come out with Threads, I was way too big of an advocate for Threads because I was not an advocate of Twitter. So anytime I saw a competitor come up against Twitter, I was for it, pro them.
Yeah.
And so I saw Threads, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be so good. And it's still good. Don't get me wrong. I was a little bit wrong about the traffic and the attraction. Of the friction isn't really there for me to be stuck on there. That's nonetheless. Point being is that Instagram definitely develops really good features and apps. So I have a good
Yes.
feeling that, and it's no coincidence that they announced it when the TikTok ban came out. It's like, okay, they were planning this. They
Oh
knew this.
yeah.
That's okay. Every good company does. They prep themselves so when the other competitor is about to fumble and fall flat face on their face, they're ready to go ahead and say, well, we're the solution.
Yep.
So I applaud Instagram for it. That's fine. But
Oh
now
yeah.
they step up and they better make sure that it's as competitive and as good as it is as CapCut, InShot, Video Shop. There's so many different apps.
Yeah.
Canva is awesome, but we need something that's, subpar, more par, better. So I think Instagram will do it.
Realtors. Tired of generic social media programs that go nowhere? 90-Day Social Refresh isn't just another program. It's your ultimate Instagram overhaul. Daily tasks so easy, they feel like cheating. Results so good, your competition will think you hired a full-time marketing team. Ready to turn meh into money? Let's make 2025 your year. Sign up now at thesimpletouches.com. Well, the one thing Meta is strategic. And the one thing, I mean, like Threads, I was never a Twitter person. I have Threads. I post on it maybe once a week. I'm really bad about posting on it. But the one thing I do enjoy about Threads is they do have, it's linked to your Instagram profile. So anytime you post on Threads, it does get pushed to Instagram and vice versa. So you do get a little bit of push, like your profile gets a little bit of like push if you post on Threads.
Mhm.
I have noticed. So that could be something to try if your Instagram profile is a little bit dead. Try posting on Threads and see what happens.
Yeah.
So I noticed as I was like creeping on your content, you do not post a lot of like those super sophisticated property tours. And I have my own thoughts about this, but I want to pick your brain about why not.
So I'd like to do more for sure. It's just I've kind of built up this brand of agent to agent content. I personally enjoy making my quirky, dorky, funny, agent related or maybe just overall related, consumer related content. So like the TikTok ban was happening, so I was making funny posts about that. Not necessarily for agents or for consumers or buyers or sellers. It's not that. It's something that I think will get traffic, get some sort of grip, and give me some more exposure. And it did. It gave me some. But I also like to create content for agents, teaching agents. I wrote the book called Expose Yourself for agents. I I teach agents about social media, personal branding, stuff like that. When I teach and I speak and I train audiences, you know, same thing. I teach them about social media, personal branding, Instagram, tips and tricks, my lead generation strategies. So I feel like that's the clientele and the audience that I'm personally building up. So if I go ahead and start posting a lot of houses, not that I can't, not that I don't want to, it's just I find myself to flow a little easier with my mind, with my content creation when it comes to me just whipping out the phone and saying, this could be funny for another agent to see. So, or this could be educational for them to see. Let me just create it real quick. As opposed to a nice, pretty fancy listing video, which I do them here and there, but not enough. So should I do them more? For sure. But it all depends on what you as the person want to do with your social media. So do you want to gain more buyers or sellers in your area? Then that is the type of content you should be creating for sure. You just got to know what kind of audience you want to bring in and create content for them.
That was such a good answer.
Good.
That was like, it hit on everything I was like thinking about in my head. That was awesome. Yeah, I think that's a huge, and every agent I've interviewed on the pod has talked about this, like knowing who you're creating content for is like step one. Are you trying to reach buyers and sellers? Are you trying to reach other agents? Like those are two completely different audiences. And if you're zigzagging between the two, like you're just creating double the work for yourself and it's half as effective. So picking one or the other or going all in on both, I mean, I think you do it really well, but you're also posting. How often are you posting?
Every day, posting something
Every day. Yeah. So if you're committed to posting every day, I think you can do it. But if you're someone who's just starting out, I think you need to pick one or the other and kind of get really good at it first. And then you can kind of expand to a different niche. But I always suggest when I'm working with agents, I'm like, you need to pick one to start and then start getting either the inbound or outbound or both leads coming in and make that system work for you before you start adding in a different audience.
And I don't want the listener to think that, I gotta post every single day now. Well, listen, if you as the listener are a real estate professional, well, I'm sorry to say, but you got into a business where you have to expose yourself. You have to be out there in all ways that you possibly can. So you got to be on podcasts, you got to be on billboards, you got to be on the shopping carts at the grocery store, you got to be on social media, you got to be here, you got to be there, you got to do door knocking, you got to go cold calling, you got to text, you got to be email campaigns, you got to... There's like so much and it's overwhelming, but there's a reason a carpenter has a tool belt, because for them to really get that house built up, they got to use 15 different tools in that one day. So use them, whip out the hammer for a second, whip out the screwdriver, whip out the measuring tape. Like, you got to use them all. Which one are you going to use more? Are you a door knocker? Are you a cold caller? I sure as hell am not. I'm a social media person guy. That's my thing. This is what I do. This is what makes me converse with people. This is how, listen, the podcast is here, right? There's a reason why we're connected. Somehow, in some shape or form, we're connected. How? Because I cold called you? Because you cold called me? No. We see each other on social media. You're like, okay, this would be a good conversation to start. And you never know where a conversation could lead to. So
absolutely.
You gotta have conversations. But that's why I love Instagram, because it allows you to have those conversations. And on top of that, I do it a different way. For example, this morning I got a DM from this random dude, and he says, "Yo, bro, your profile is so awesome. Great job." And I'm like, okay, cool. Random person. So I go on his profile and I see he has like 432,000 followers and this like super handsome, like very, cool guy. And I'm like, okay, you want something. What do you want from me? He's like, post messages all the time. So I just responded. I said, thanks, not interested. That was my response. Maybe it was bad. Maybe it was harsh. Maybe he just genuinely meant it. I get 30 of those a week and I just
same.
What happens? It's hey, thanks so much, and then they hit you with the, hey, your Instagram could be better. Let's make it better together. Like, piss off, okay? Instead, what I do, if I'm going to reach out to someone like that, let's just say my intentions are the same as his. Let's just say, Tamany, I'm going to reach out to you. I don't know you, who you are. I've never met you before, and I want to compliment your profile. Like, am I going to use his approach and say, yo, dude, great profile? No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to whip out the phone. I'll send you a video message. And my you is going to be something like, first of all, I'm going to do some digging on you. Like, I want to creep on your profile before I send you anything. He could have been specific. He could have said anything about my profile, but didn't. He just said it's great. That's not good enough. Give me more. I could have reached out to you and said, "Hey, Tamany, I see you have a podcast. I listened to your one episode with this guy, and you were talking about that. Like, that was so cool and informative. Whether I watched that podcast or just watched a second of it, just to pick out something to get from there to make sure I catch your attention." So now I'm going to say something like that, right? Now you're thinking, "Oh shit, he did his work. He did his research. Like, he's been okay. He's creeping. Okay, go on." Right now, I got you hooked. And now I'm going to say, "Tamany, it's so cool to connect with you." Right? I said your name. "So cool to connect with you. I saw your podcast with that guy and this and that. Oh, by the way, anything you ever need, like, I'm here. I'm help from one content creator to another. I'm here for you." That's what I would say. Like, you can't say that, "Oh, Ed copy and pasted that to 15 other people today."
Right.
No, that was a personal message, and your odds of getting back to me with the message are much higher now. Because now you're like, "Damn, I'm gonna feel bad if I like ignore this guy."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and you respond, and then conversation begins if you take it there. So, like, that's the art of Instagram that I love and I do, and that's in the book. So
Yeah. I hope you're listening, because that was a really good tip on how to outbound message, or I guess we could say that quote unquote cold DM, without being like skeezy about it, right? So do some, let's summarize a little bit. So you find a profile who, one, is probably in your area, who's probably of age to buy a house. Two, you have something in common, like you're going to vibe with this person. They're going to be your ideal client. You do some digging. You learn something about this person so you can actually have something to say other than, "Hey, cool profile." Then you go to the DMs, you do a video message because they can see your face, they can hear your voice. There's so much research around the psychology of that versus a text message. And you send them a personalized video message. That's 15 seconds out of your day. And the chances that they, one, reply, two, visit your profile, three, follow you back are so much higher than being like, "Hey." You know what I mean? Like, that's such a good tip. So if you are struggling to get those inbound leads, struggling to have conversations on Instagram, that is a great idea. Of do it 20 minutes a day for the next month. I guarantee you're going to see some changes.
Guarantee. Absolutely. And now, some people cannot send video messages. Sometimes, for example, I cannot send you a video message because I don't follow you, you don't follow me. And so one shot to send. Right? So usually you can start off only with a text message.
Interesting.
So what I do, right? Or a DM message, right? So what I do is, if their profile is public, then I watch their story if they have a story. And you can respond to a story as many times as you want.
Oh.
You only have one shot to send a DM though. Once you send it, Instagram's like, "You can't respond to this person anymore. It's a one shot." I get it. Sometimes it does that, but sometimes it lets you send a video message. And obviously that's for privacy reasons. That's for, people not sending weird stuff to people,
Yeah.
right? So I get that part. But at the end of the day, a nice little loophole is to respond to their stories. You can respond to their stories as much as you want. So they're gonna eventually maybe see it. But those that do allow the video messages, send them a video message. It's the coolest thing ever. People don't expect it. And especially if you like text on the video, put text on there. So the first thing that they see is like you waving. It just says "Hey." It's like, "Oh, okay, this is interesting. Why is this guy? It's my name. It's okay. All right, what is it? Like, let me watch it."
Yeah.
So things like that. But if you can't send a video, then respond to Instagram stories or something of that sort. Or just keep going until you do send someone, or you can send someone a video. But yeah, make the video short and sweet and simple. Do not say anything about you selling real estate. Do not say something about, "Hey, looking to buy or sell this year, the rates are really low." Like, don't say that. You want to say something relatable. What do I do with personal messages to people around here in my area? So for example, I'll go onto the hashtags. I'll type in my town, Somerville, NJ, and I'll go ahead and I'll start engaging with people in my area. And as you said before, someone that's of age, someone that looks like a prospect to buy or sell a house or rent a place or a developer, whatever. And I'm going to click on their page, comment a few on their pictures, like some of their posts, watch their story, and then I hit them with a DM. And that DM, usually, I say something like, "Hey Jack, saw your page. I was looking at Somerville and NJ hashtags. Your page popped up. I just stumbled upon it. So listen, hey, from a local to a local, anything I can ever do, like, so good to connect with you, my friend. Hope to see you around town."
Hmm.
That's it. Like,
I love that you mentioned how you found his page, because a lot of times people are like creeped out. They're like, wait, who is this
right,
random? And
right,
then I also love that you mentioned that you're a local, because then they like, oh, he's not just like some random guy from, I don't know,
right.
like Russia or something, you know, like.
Exactly.
And another like tip I was thinking about, that I use this when I'm like trying to get podcast guests. If they read your message and don't respond, and you're like, you want to follow up with them but you don't want to be annoying, respond to their story. Because what happens is that goes into the same message thread, so they're gonna like see the story response, but they're also gonna be reminded of the message that you sent prior, and they're gonna be like, oh, I forgot to respond to that
Mm,
previous message. So
yep,
that's another little tip that I like to use.
absolutely. Or let's go even furthermore with that. If they have different platforms, hit them up on there too.
Oh,
I can't. Listen. I've the serious like followers or those that really wanted to get my attention in some shape or form and do business with me. I got the same message on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, on email. I'm like, damn, this person wants to. All right, you got my.
interesting.
Oh, that's another one.
That worked for you.
Oh, for sure. What I did for a long time, because you said it before, YouTube is not necessarily a place where you can exchange messages or build that community. You can. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying anything bad about YouTube. It's probably something that I need to be better at for sure. But it doesn't have that personal to person DMs, right? Similar to that of Instagram or TikTok. For a long time, TikTok wasn't allowing you to send messages to followers or people like that unless both of you follow each other.
Right.
So what I did is, let's just say you scrolled upon my my TikTok, you found some of my videos humorous, and you engaged a little bit. Maybe you followed me. What I would do is I would go onto your TikTok, maybe like a video or two, and then go to your Instagram if it's connected to your TikTok.
Mm.
I would send you a message on Instagram saying, "Hey Tamany, I saw you message me on my TikTok. I saw you liked a few things. Listen, I love the support and I appreciate it so much. Like, if I can ever do anything for you, like, I just want you to let you know I am acknowledging your love. So I want to give it back if I can." Now it's like, wait, I saw you there. Now it just completely gets their mind out of whack. So that's
Yeah.
what to do in today's world. You have to do something different that others aren't willing to do or don't have the time to or are not thinking of it.
Yeah.
That, you know.
That reminds me, I took a training from Grant Cardone, and he always says, be omnipresent. That's what the word he uses, omnipresent. And so he's like, you just have to be everywhere. You have to be everywhere. And beyond that, your brand has to be consistent everywhere. Because if you are everywhere, but they don't realize it's you, like the same person across multiple platforms, like you're wasting your time. So you have to make sure your brand looks the same everywhere. Whether that's consistent colors, consistent font, consistent messaging, consistent all the things. So make sure your brand is nailed down. You have your audience dialed in. What are you showing me? Brand colors.
Brand colors. Go on. Don't want to.
Yeah, so you're showing me your book. I also just launched a new program called 90 Day Social Refresh, and that's all we do. So month one is refreshing your brand, and that's what we focus on, is the colors, the fonts, the logo, like making sure that's all dialed in, because it is so important. You have to make sure all of that is consistent, because if it looks different on your, let's say, your print marketing versus your online marketing, it's like two different businesses. Like nobody will recognize that it's the same person doing all this marketing and putting all this money behind both.
That's right. I talk about brand uniformity.
Mm.
That's what I was looking for when you were just mentioning what you were mentioning. You know, if you're McDonald's, for example, or Starbucks, and you go onto their TikTok, it's their logo. right? And if you go onto their LinkedIn, it's their logo. And if you go onto TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, it's probably their logo. If you have to perceive yourself as a Starbucks. You're a company, you're a business.
Yep.
As a real estate professional, whether you're a lender, attorney, a title, a company, a this or that, it doesn't matter. You are a business. So when I'm working with you and I click on your Instagram and I see your pretty headshot from 30 years ago, like, okay, I want to make sure that this is the same. Like, okay, and then I follow you on Facebook and it's like a picture of you and your whole family. And like, I can't even tell if that's you. Like, so now I'm confused. Is this the same? Like, is this Sarah? Is this the Sarah that's selling my house? I don't know.
Right.
That uniformity has to be everywhere. McDonald's wouldn't do that. McDonald's is going to be the logo, the yellow big M. Like, that's what it is. Starbucks, it's going to be that girl in green. Like, you're going to see that. So you got to make sure that uniformity is the same and authenticity is the same and your brand colors are the same and so on and so forth. Totally agree with everything you're saying. Huge reason why it's in my chapter called Fundamental Elements of Your Brand.
And I think too, like, we've kind of moved past, we're in a day and age where influencer marketing is a huge industry now. Huge. I mean, companies, big companies are investing billions of dollars into influencer marketing. And I think we're in a day and age where putting your logo as your profile picture, like, it's not going to fly anymore. Like, it needs to be your face. And your face needs to be as a realtor, because you're, ew, I said it weird, realtor. I didn't mean to.
Forgiven.
I did the 3-syllable thing. As a realtor, because your business is based on, like, it's such a person-to-person business, and you are the brand. Like, I think it needs to, personally, I think it needs to be your face, like your headshot. Like, you need to be the brand. You are the influencer, more or less, behind the brand. I mean, the logo can be there, but I don't think it needs to be the forefront of your brand in 2025.
Right. It's got to be your face. It's your face in front of your clients. It's the face that's in front of the other agent when you're negotiating a deal. It's the face that's the lender talking about what you're going to do to go ahead and save this deal. Like, it's not your logo. Like, yes, your logo is part of it, right?
Right.
But it's really your face. Like, I work for Real, but I can work for Remax. I can work for Keller Williams. I can work for EXP. I can work for them. I can work for them. It's my face. And my reputation, the reviews online that people have left that say, no, that's Ed that did what he did. Where I am doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's who I am that does.
And you are beautiful just the way you are. It's okay.
You make me.
I'm talking to the viewers. Calm down.
Yeah. Viewers.
You're beautiful too, Ed.
Viewers too. That is not getting cut. That is out there. That is being put right in there.
Okay, that's a great example of, like, the mess ups that make things relatable, right? Like, we're not going to cut that out because it's funny, it's relatable, whatever. Okay, all right. All right, we are way over time, but this is just, like, such a fun conversation. Where can everybody find your book, Expose Yourself?
On Amazon.
On Amazon.
Yep, you type it in and it'll be the one that pops up.
Fabulous. And if people want to follow you, where can they do that?
On Instagram, at Ed Stulak. You can send me a video message for brownie points.
I love it. Mention the podcast. Tell them, hey, send them a video message. Be like, I heard the podcast, or I saw the podcast.
Heck yeah.
And I just wanted to reach out and say hi.
Yes, please do. I'm happy to hop on a call, hop on a Zoom, help you out, and chat about what you got to do to expose yourself in 2025.
I love it. Thank you so much, Ed.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate the love and the support.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Simplifying Social Media. Let's stay connected on Instagram at Realtor Social Media Marketing. And if you're interested in working with me, head over to thesimpletouches.com and see all my social media marketing services for real estate agents. And I'll see you guys on the next episode.